Imagine you're walking through the heart of Rome. The streets are crowded, merchants are arguing over prices, a cart rattles over uneven stone. Somewhere nearby, someone is frying fish. And right there, in the middle of all that noise, a man is asleep. Not drunk, not homeless, not sick, just asleep. Nobody stops to stare. Nobody asks if he's okay. People simply walk around him as if it's the most normal thing in the world, because in ancient Rome, it was. And the strange part isn't that Romans slept in public. The strange part is why so many of them needed to. Imagine Rome around the 1st century AD. Not the Rome of marble statues and emperors, the Rome where most people actually lived. Nearly 1 million people are packed into the city. The streets are crowded from sunrise to sunset. Animals, workers, traders, slaves, children, travelers, all squeezed together inside a maze of stone. The air smells of smoke, sweat, sewage, and cooking food. The sound never truly disappears. Most Romans don't live in luxurious villas. They live in apartment buildings called insulae. Some rise 5 or 6 stories high. The lower floors are expensive. The upper floors belong to the poor. If you're poor, your apartment is probably tiny. 1 room, maybe 2. No glass windows, little privacy, very little comfort. And when night comes, that's when the real problem begins, because Rome never truly sleeps. Modern cities have noise laws. Ancient Rome had something else. Noise. Endless noise. Throughout the night, carts moved through the city. In fact, many heavy wagons are only allowed inside Rome after dark because daytime traffic is too congested. Imagine trying to sleep while wooden wheels grind over stone beneath your window, again and again and again. Inside your apartment, things aren't much better. You share walls so thin that every argument becomes your argument. Children cry, neighbors shout, dogs bark, people climb stairs all night long. If you're lucky, you sleep. If you're unlucky, you spend most of the night staring into darkness waiting for morning. And then there's the heat. Roman summers could be brutal. Upper floors trapped warm air. The poor lived closest to the roof. The hottest rooms belonged to the people with the least ability to escape them. Sleep was not something every Roman could take for granted. For many, it was something they chased, whenever they could find it. So during the day, people slept. Not everyone, but enough that it became completely ordinary. Workers rested beneath shaded porticos, travelers dozed near temples, laborers stretched out beneath public buildings. A quick nap in the middle of the day wasn't laziness, it was recovery, because many Romans spent their nights losing sleep instead of gaining it. Here's where things become even stranger. Many people imagine ancient life as slower than modern life, peaceful, simple, quiet. But for ordinary Romans, daily life could feel surprisingly chaotic. In some ways, they faced a problem familiar to millions of people today: poor sleep. Except they had almost none of the things we rely on. No soundproof walls, no fans, no air conditioning, no comfortable mattresses, no blackout curtains, no earplugs. And yet, Roman society adapted. The middle of the day often slowed down. Business paused during the hottest hours. People sought shade. Conversation became quieter. Work sometimes stopped entirely. The city developed a rhythm that allowed people to recover. What's fascinating is that public sleeping wasn't limited to one social class. The wealthy had gardens, villas, and shaded courtyards where they could retreat. The poor had porticos, public spaces, and patches of shade. The experience was different, but the need was the same. Human beings have always been human beings. No matter how grand the empire, no matter how famous the city, everyone eventually gets tired. And Rome was a city that exhausted people. In fact, some historians believe the city may have been among the noisiest urban environments in the ancient world. Imagine New York without modern construction standards, without insulation, without traffic lights, without regulations. Then place everyone much closer together. That begins to approach what daily life may have felt like. And suddenly, the sleeping man in the marketplace doesn't seem strange at all. He seems practical. Imagine one ordinary Roman worker. Not a senator, not a general, not someone whose name survives in history. Just a man trying to earn enough money to survive. He wakes before sunrise, works all day, carries loads through crowded streets, breathes smoke and dust, climbs endless stairs back to a cramped apartment, then spends half the night awake because carts are rumbling below his window. The next afternoon, exhausted, he sits beneath a shaded colonnade. His eyes close, his head leans against cool stone. For a few minutes, the city disappears. The noise fades, the burden lifts, and he sleeps. Nobody remembers his name. Nobody carved his story into marble. Yet this small moment may be one of the most relatable experiences in all of Roman history. Not conquest, not politics, not emperors, just a tired person trying to rest. 2,000 years separate us from him, but in that moment, there is almost no distance at all. History often remembers the loudest people, the generals, the rulers, the famous voices. But most of the Roman Empire was built by ordinary people who were simply trying to get through another day. People who worried about rent, people who worried about food, people who worried about sleep. And maybe that's why the sleeping figures scattered throughout ancient Rome feel so familiar, because across 2,000 years, one thing hasn't changed. Human beings still spend their lives searching for a little comfort in a noisy world. If you had to spend 1 week living as an ordinary Roman, not a wealthy citizen, but an average worker, what part of daily life do you think would be hardest to adapt to? The noise? The crowded housing? The lack of privacy? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy uncovering the forgotten experiences of ordinary people throughout history, subscribe to The Forgotten Eyes, because sometimes the most fascinating stories are the ones history almost forgot.